It's the most magical time of the year. No, not Christmas. Burning Man is coming up. Drex here from DrexFactor.com, and today I wanted to talk with you guys all about the flow and fire arts at Burning Man. Before we dive in, I just want to give a quick shout out to the friends of the channel. Big thanks to Dark Monk, Flow Toys, Pyroterra Light Toys, LMF Props, Spinballs, and Ultrapoi for helping to make videos on this channel possible. You can learn more about all these amazing companies by checking out the links that I've got down in the description of this video. So, Burning Man is an absolutely incredible experience, especially for flow artists. Burning Man was where I first saw Firepoi way back in 2006. It's a place that brings together people that are curious, expressive, and above all creative. It's a great environment for connecting with other flow artists and artists of all stripes. And as it happens, it's also a great place to be a flow artist. So there are loads of resources out there for people that are just getting into Burning Man and want to know more about it. So I'm going to save you a lot of the overview stuff like the breakdown of the city and how the addresses work, how the art works and theme camps and everything. And I'm going to focus more on the experience of flow and fire artists at Burning Man, and specifically what you can expect and what you should bring with you. I'm also going to make the assumption that if you're watching this video, you are probably either curious or a first-timer, and thus that I should basically start from scratch on a lot of this. So Burning Man is a wonderful place to spin, both unlit as well as lit. During the day, there are plenty of places all across the city where you can go and spin your props, either under shelter or out next to some of the art pieces. At night, there are fire circles at most of the sound camps, so you'll be able to spin fire while you listen to some of your favorite musicians. If you're looking to get into flow arts, maybe try out your first prop, Burning Man is a great place to do it. There are tons of camps that are going to have workshops to teach you how to do all sorts of different props. Check out the What, Where, When guide when it comes out, and there are sure to be tons of workshops on different props. Additionally, there are some camps, like Vulcan Empire, that specifically specialize in teaching people new stuff. You can find out the address of Vulcan Empire as well as other flow arts-oriented camps by looking it up on the burner map before you get to Playa, or you can go to Playa Info when you get there. Either which way, they'll have the schedule posted for the entire week so that you can tell which tools you can learn at what times and what days. There are also guaranteed to be fun spin jams there too, so keep your eyes open for what all your opportunities are. And of course, if you don't actually have your own props yet, a lot of these camps do offer props for people to borrow while they're learning all this stuff. Plenty of flow artists come to Burning Man with the intention of gifting lessons in different props to help other people learn how to do the things that they love to do themselves. If you're looking for a good place to go jam out during the day, Center Camp is usually my first point of call. There you can find a variety of different movement artists, from acro yogis to martial artists, as well as flow artists, all practicing within this lovely little ring in the center of it. I also really love Center Camp as a place to congregate because you never know who you're going to run into there. Some of my favorite people that I've met at Burning Man have been in Center Camp. So in terms of dealing with your props on Playa, of course, the primary way that most people get around out there is either on foot or by bicycle. Now, it should be said that carrying around props in this way can sometimes be a pain in the butt. There are lots of solutions out there for creating prop racks that you can stick on a bicycle in order to make it more convenient to bring your props wherever you go. I'll go ahead and link to a couple designs that I've seen down in the description here, including a really amazing hoop rack that I built for my own bike many years ago. Also, it's a bit of an investment, but if you can get one of those little bike trailers to stick stuff in, that will totally save your life out there. Not just for transporting your props and other stuff around, but also because you never know when there might be something like, say, ice or something like that, that it's really, really convenient to have something like that for. Okay, so now let's talk about the fire circles at night, because this is definitely the place where the very anything goes vibe of Burning Man can be both a blessing and a curse. So first up, it is very, very rare that the fire circles are actually put together in any kind of a structured fashion. In most cases, what happens is early in the evening at a sound camp, there will be a bunch of people that will just set up and they'll basically be there for the entire night spinning fire. And sometimes as the dance floor grows, it'll grow to encompass that area. In some circumstances, there are people that will try to light up in the middle of the crowd to create a fire circle in the middle of it, which for very obvious reasons is somewhat frowned upon. There are, of course, some exceptions to this rule. There are some sound camps that specifically have places that they want fire artists to perform. One example is Camp Question Mark. They have a stage that is specifically devoted to having fire artists on it. These, of course, are also places that tend to involve some kind of sign-up or registration or some kind of screening process for people to get in. So what I would say is if you're interested in taking advantage of this option, keep your eyes peeled to the internet for announcements about it in the weeks leading up to Burning Man, because there will probably be an application that'll go out associated with it. If you're looking to connect with other flow and fire artists at night out there, the sound camps are really your best bet. They're usually located on the 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock axes of Black Rock City. There are also tons of camps in the interior of the city that have DJ lineups as well, and sometimes you'll find a really amazing fire circle buried in the middle of the city where nobody would ever find it otherwise. Pay attention to the music lineups at different camps. The Rockstar Librarian is a great resource for this, and if there is a musical act that you're a big fan of, chances are that there are other people that are a big fan of them too, and you might be able to connect with other flow artists there. Okay, so you've found a musical act that you want to go spin to. You've arrived at the sound camp, and there are other fire spinners there. What can you expect? Well, this is the place where things tend to get a little chaotic. Namely, there will probably be people set up around the perimeter of the fire circle, and maybe they all have their stuff together and maybe they don't. It is almost certain that there's going to be a big pile of everybody's stuff, including, jackets and backpacks and fuel and props, and you want to be really, really careful when you try and walk through those areas, because you never know what you're either going to step on or what you may tip over in the process. If you want to spend fire out there, it's usually considered to be polite to bring your own fuel with you, so you're not using somebody else's. Depending upon how you're getting to the event, you can either make arrangements with a friend to have them pick up some fuel for you on the way in, or you can do it yourself if, say, you're going through Reno before you head to Black Rock City. Generally speaking, the fuel of choice out at Burning Man is Coleman Camp Fuel White Gas, and it is usually picked clean from the Walmarts in Reno 1 or 2 days ahead of the event itself. There are other places, hardware stores and the like, that you can stop on the way in that you will still be able to find it, but keep in mind that the best way to make sure that you have that fuel is actually to order in advance. Now, when you get to these spin gyms, there's also the question of how you dip your props, as well as spin out and all that. Now, in a lot of cases, people will improvise different solutions for dip cans and the like. You'll see everything from ammo cans to empty gallon paint buckets, and sometimes people even using things like water bottles or mason jars. Now, I highly recommend you do not use anything as a dip can that could be seen as a receptacle for water. I have seen this happen more times than I can count, that somebody is digging through somebody else's stuff and they see what they think is a water bottle and they're feeling parched and they take a swig. Accidents do happen, and it's one of those things that you really, really, really want to make sure that there is no room for error there if possible. I personally am a fan of the empty gallon paint cans, if for no other reason than if a fire gets lit inside of them, you can just put the lid back on it and it will automatically put out the fire. It's really, really quick and easy. The ammo cans, while they're very convenient for holding fuel, they also have two problems out on Playa. Number one is that the lack of moisture causes the rubber seal in the lid of it to gradually shrink, to the point where it no longer becomes watertight. Like my ammo can that I took out there for years now leaks like a sieve if it gets tipped over. The other reason is that it's kind of difficult to get the lid back on quickly. So again, if a fire should accidentally start in the dipping can, it's going to be really, really hard to put out if you're using an ammo can. And of course, there's spinning out on Playa, which is a whole thing in and of itself. Plenty of people just spin out straight onto the Playa, which is probably not a good thing, but another option would be to do something like spin out into a bucket or into Ziploc bags. The Ziploc bags are the option that I prefer, both because they're reusable, as well as you can get them on any kind of wick. And there will be a series of videos coming this month showing you how you can use those Ziploc bags in a variety of different props to make sure that none of your fuel comes in contact with the ground. Which also brings us to the topic of safety. Sometimes there are safety spotters in these fire circles, and sometimes there are not. So if you want to be a friend to everyone, it's not a bad idea to bring out a safety blanket with you. And sometimes it's cool to be that person that the gift you give to others is not necessarily your performance, but keeping other performers safe. And that brings us to the sponsor of all of August's videos, Mayday Atlanta. So not only are these blankets super duper durable and you can get your name embroidered on them so you can easily tell your blanket while you're out there, but this blanket also has something that no other blanket I've ever brought to Burning Man has. It has been washed. All of us know that the dust out at Burning Man is horrendous and you want to wash all of the things when you get them home again. But you can't wash a duvetine because, of course, it'll lose its fire resistance. But Mayday blankets, on the other hand, are inherently fire resistant. So you can take them out to Playa and bring them home and wash them, and it's awesome. So to grab your own Mayday Atlanta blanket, head on over to maydayatl.com and use the promo code DREXFactor in order to get a discount on your order. And there's still time to get them before Burning Man, so get on that. Cool, so we have talked about center camp, we've talked about transporting props, we have talked about the fire circles at night. Now let's talk about one of the greatest elements of flow arts at Burning Man, and that is Fire Conclave. If you're unfamiliar with Fire Conclave is the opening act before the man burns on Saturday night. It consists of dozens of groups from all over the world that have spent many, many months working on choreography to perform for the entire Playa. Given that the population on Playa tends to hover around 70,000 people, I think I can accurately say that this is one of the biggest stages in the world for fire performance. And it should be said, this is a great honor. The Fire Conclave is the thing that first inspired me to want to learn how to spin poi, and I'm sure that it's been the inspiration for many other people too. Getting to be a part of this isn't just getting to inspire people, it's also getting to be a part of the show. You get a front row seat for when the man burns, and quite frankly, it is one of my favorite things to participate in out on Playa. Now, to become a part of a conclave, you can either join a pre-existing conclave or you can start one yourself. To join a local conclave, ask around to your fellow flow artists, maybe at spin jams, to see if there's already a conclave in the area and whether you can join it. You can also start a conclave, but just so you know, it is a lot of work, and not all of it is fun. Now, fire conclaves are chosen by the Fire Conclave Council. It's a subsidiary of the Burning Man organization that is specifically devoted to the fire arts on Playa. And there is a whole process by which a group becomes a part of Fire Conclave. Usually about January or February, there is something called intent that is announced. That is an application that a prospective conclave has to fill out in order to be considered for admission. You then have to spend the next few months doing regular rehearsals, and you'll be sending in a monthly report to let them know what your progress is. The final step of this project is that you have to submit a video audition to the Fire Conclave Council by the end of June. To find out more about that, keep your eyes open for when Fire Conclave Council opens up the application for intent. You can do that by following them on Facebook or Instagram. Now, let's say you're a part of Conclave and you are there at burn night and everything. There is a whole list of safety information that you are going to be given by the person who runs your Conclave. They're called a Shin. And follow every word of it, because I've seen what can happen when that goes wrong. But there is one piece of advice that I would love to give everybody who's in Fire Conclave that is not usually a part of that safety presentation. And that's this. Performing in Fire Conclave looks really cool from the audience, but it is absolute chaos from inside the circle. It's one of those things that you're going to spend the better part of an hour being bored waiting for the instructions to get started with your performance, and then you will have to get with it very, very, very quickly. Now, while all this is going on, because there's so much going on and it's very distracting and it goes by so quickly, it can be really, really easy to lose track of how special an experience it is. So here's a piece of advice that I've given to everybody that has come through my conclave in the time that I've run it. At some point, when you go back to fuel your props, take 10 seconds, take a deep breath, count it off in your head, and look around at everybody in the circle. See what the audience sees. See all of these amazing fire performance groups from all over the world. Be there, be present, and appreciate it, because it'll be gone before you know it. Hey, so when I was originally recording this video, I totally forgot to talk about one additional thing, and that is the effect that the Playa has on your props. There's basically no humidity out there, and of course the dust is alkaline, so it starts to break down everything it comes in contact with almost right away, and it's really hard to get it out of stuff. So especially if you're bringing out any electronics, such as, say, LED props and everything, do bear in mind that they're going to be a little bit difficult to clean out when you get home. I've never had a prop fail because of the Playa, but the dust does tend to get in crevices. It's really difficult to get it back out of. So maybe invest in some compressed air to help you out with that. And also bear in mind that as you're wandering around on Playa and everything, lots of people are bringing props out there, and sometimes you'll wind up in situations where you and somebody else at an event both have similar props, and it can be really, really easy for people to make mistakes about which props are theirs, or for a set of props to grow legs and wander away and everything. So anything that you can do to make your props more unique and identifiable is probably a good idea. But the overall message here is that don't bring anything out to Playa that you are not okay with being parted with. Because, as we all know, the Playa giveth and the Playa taketh away. Cool. So, have fun, be safe out there, and above all, leave no trace. Come back and give us great stories, yeah? Are you a flow or fire artist that goes to Burning Man and have a burning piece of advice that I have left out of here? Please write it down in the comments so that everybody can hear it. So if you dug this video and you'd like to see more like it in the future, please hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell. Doing this will guarantee that you get to see my videos in the future and that they cut through all the changes in the YouTube suggestion algorithms. And of course, a huge thank you to all of my wonderful supporters on Patreon, because you all are the reason that this video and all the videos on my channel exist. Now, if you'd like to sign up to support the work that I do, please head on over to patreon.com/DrexFactorPoi, and thanks in advance.